episode 20, Jay. How'd you
Yeah,
feel?
feel good. Although I was actually really struggling to find some new stuff this week, even though I've got a lot on here. Like I didn't yesterday, I was just in no mood whatsoever to even like mention a game. I was not in the mood, which is probably a
That's
good thing why
okay.
we didn't record yesterday because I was just like so like done. I was like, yeah, I'm not really in the mood for this right now.
Okay.
Bit
Yeah,
more
we're
there today
recording
though, so
recording a day later than usual
yeah,
today.
right, we've got stuff going on, haven't we?
We have lots of things going on. We're trying to have as much a regular recording schedule as possible. That's the best way to put it, I think.
Mhm.
And thankfully, Jay's very available, so or
Always.
flexible.
Well, yeah, for the foreseeable future.
Yes. So that's the Goldilocks gamer,
Certainly is.
Jay.
What you got me to
I just
say
want
it?
to. No.
Yeah.
I'm your friendly neighborhood Nick. And Jay, what have you been playing this week?
Honestly, not that much. I did speak to you during the week, I think. I don't think I even mentioned it on last week's podcast.
Did we?
Um,
Yes, I asked you for some help on an achievement.
yeah. So there's a new game that's in beta technically at the minute called Rogue Company,
We talked about this
which
before, haven't we?
which is I don't know. Did we talk about it last week or did we just talk about it not on the
No, we
podcast?
talked. We talked about it. You said it's a third-person CS:GO. Was
Yeah, basically,
yeah,
yeah. It's just like a third
yeah.
person sort of Valorant CS:GO type game with like different characters and abilities and stuff. So it's pretty fun. I think I'll probably wait though because because they're in beta. There isn't as much progression um, motivation as I'd like. So I'll have to get back to you on that on how good it is. I guess it's actually pretty fun. I got pretty good at it after a few matches. So
Did you say the progress carries over?
no, I don't know if it does. I haven't actually looked. Usually
Okay.
they tell you. You'll have to like maybe do some research on the forums or something.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, I've been playing Odyssey still. Nothing to report. Nothing to
Yeah,
report.
saving it for the show about it. Yeah, it's gonna be
Saving for the
weird because it's
special.
gonna be so fresh in your mind, but it's gonna be so not fresh in mine.
It'll be an interesting perspective for
It will
sure.
actually, because someone who, yeah, from somewhat a perspective of someone who didn't rush it but played a lot of it quickly versus someone who played all of it as well but slower. Yes, it's going to be
Yeah. And it'll be
different.
interesting to see what bits highlight, are in your
Oh, that's
mind
such a
and
good, yeah,
what
good
bits.
point. Which bit's
Yeah.
like stuck with me versus what is going to potentially stick with you? I imagine. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, Jay, just to let everyone know that we like to talk about video games. There's a lot to talk about this week. Hashtag.
Mhm.
So I thought we'd just get right into it, mate. No, we haven't been playing many games recently that are very exciting, so I don't feel the need to dwell on what we've been playing if we haven't got much to talk about. There's no need to discuss things when they don't need to be discussed.
I think there's just maybe potentially one thing I want to say about some upcoming stuff. In terms of the Star Wars squadrons, I think
Yeah, go. Oh, yeah.
I think the
Go on.
pre-order's available now, and you get some like additional cosmetic stuff. So I'll be looking into that at some point.
Any idea on how many different editions they've got, Jay? Because I know you're quite eager on those.
I think it's just the one. It's just like standard edition and then like a deluxe, like literally just the one.
Interesting, Jay.
Yeah.
As someone who likes pre-order editions and special editions, what is your thoughts on the Assassin's Creed effort there, where they have about 5 different editions and it all gets really complicated?
Yeah, they do this a lot actually with certain games, don't they? Trying to think. So with the Assassin's Creed, they have like standard, they have like a digital deluxe, and then they have like a gold, and then like an ultimate one or something, right?
That's right. That's something like that. Yeah,
So there's like four. We'll say like 3 or 4 editions.
yeah.
I tend to go with depend. It depend. I feel like it depends on the game. Like if you know you're going to enjoy that one more, you might potentially spend a bit more money on it. I think I've actually every Assassin's Creed game, apart from maybe the first three, I've
As in 1, 2, 3, or 1,
yeah,
2 Brotherhood?
maybe like 1, 2 Brotherhood, and I think everything after that, maybe even not Revelations, but maybe from like 3 onward, I might have got like a. Actually, no, it would have been. So it goes 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, Black Flag. Yeah, Black Flag was the first game I got with a special edition, and it was a physical edition too. It came in like a tin, so that's
Cool.
quite cool. So everything after from 4 onwards, I think I've almost always got a special edition. Maybe apart from Unity, because Unity was actually gifted to me by someone who didn't want it anymore, and that
Okay.
was just like a standard edition, which I'm kind
I
of
got
glad
the
actually. I think that probably
Bastille.
would have been a bit of a waste, wouldn't
Oh
it, with
yeah,
Unity?
yeah. Well, I got the Bastille edition because I don't know if you remember, Jay, but before the game came out, it was the first true next gen Assassin's
Oh,
Creed, and the
okay.
hype was crazy.
Oh
And
yeah, I
at that
missed it. I
point,
missed it completely.
yeah, and at that point, I was really geared up for it. I wanted. It was only like an extra
Oh,
five
you're right.
quid.
Actually, it was the first Xbox One, wasn't it? Yeah,
Well,
that's
Black
insane. I
Flag
didn't.
was it, but it was more of a port, if
Yeah,
that
you're right.
makes sense.
Exactly. It was a
Yeah.
port. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was really excited. Was it like an extra 5 or 10 quid? I think it was a waste of money, but it was cool at the time.
Yeah, I feel like that much doesn't really make much of a difference, like 5 or 10. But when it
Right.
comes to
If you're
ones
gonna
that are
go,
like
go.
80,
Yeah.
90, it starts to get a bit, yeah, a bit iffy then.
Yeah, yeah. Or like if you're gonna do the special edition, get the 120 quid version. Is that kind of yeah?
Oh no, I very rarely pay anything more than 90.
Okay.
Like if I'm getting something that's 90, it's probably gonna be like something that I think is gonna be very special to me. Like I'd happily pay 90 for like a cyberpunk type thing. Like it has to be, I have to know I'm gonna like it
Yeah.
most of the
Like
time.
Cyberpunk, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
looking into the pre-order thing for Squadrons. It looks like it's actually the same amount of money. It's just if you pre-order it, you just get extra stuff.
Right. So pre-order bonuses. Yeah.
Same money, just pre-order bonuses. Yeah.
I've never liked pre-order bonuses, mate. I never liked the thought of missing out on content just because I don't pre-order it.
Yeah, that bugs me sometimes. Just maybe like I'm more annoyed if I like a game after it's come out, but I know that I now can't get pre-order bonuses from it. It's like, oh god, great, I missed out. But I really enjoy this game now, but I waited too long. Oh no.
Mm, I do think they're getting slightly better with that because they sometimes put it in the game via free update, and that's cool. I like if you're gonna give it to me, fine, eventually, but I don't want to miss out on content just because I don't pre-order it. You
A
know,
good example of that is the orange lightsaber in Star Wars Fallen Order, which I
very
can
good.
actually say that I bought it separately online. I actually like
Right?
spent
Yeah.
money on someone who hadn't bothered to use it and was like, I don't really want to use it. Here you go.
And
I
then
think it
didn't
only
I
cost
tell
me like
you that?
£2.50 or something. That's great.
Yeah, didn't I tell you that I got it when I started playing it, and you were like, "Oh, right, okay." Do you
I don't
do you
know. I can't
remember?
remember honestly.
Okay, all right. I think when I played it eventually, I told you that I had that lightsaber, and then we were like looking at it, and we figured it out basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right, mate. Well, should we grow onto the news?
Yeah. What is? Hang on. What is this PS Plus can go to hell? What does that mean?
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up, Jay. So I just want to 30-second rant. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Cool. 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 Thank you. So Nick buys a PS4 finally. We are going to do a big PS4 blowout, by the way, now that you've done Ghost of Tsushima. We're going to celebrate both generations with a
Okay.
topic of the show on both consoles. So one for PS4, one for Xbox One. And we're going to discuss all of our favorite games on each one in leading up to the launch of the new console. It's going to be a whole hype machine, okay? And I bought PS4, bought The Last of Us Remastered to play again because I wanted to play it again.
Mhm.
Bought Shadow of the Colossus remake because I wanted to play that. I bought
Hang on.
Detroit Become Human because I
Yeah.
just missed out on the PS Plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of still want to play that. I don't know if I did the PS Plus thing or not. Like, what was free at one point, wasn't it?
It was just missed out on that.
Did I miss
So
it? I can't remember. I have to have a look.
then bought. Bear with me a second. Then bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered on Xbox One. Okay.
Mhm.
And now, okay, PS
Oh,
Plus have made
okay.
Shadow of the Colossus free, have made Last of Us Remastered free, and
Yeah.
have now got the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered for free, which literally came out like 3 months ago.
Is it free?
Yes,
I
this
have to check
month.
that. I'm gonna have to. You mean the start of August?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to check that because I wouldn't mind getting that.
I am furious, Jay.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing my money away. I'm just throwing it away.
this kind of happened to me on maybe on one or two occasions. There's a yeah, I can't give any examples, but I'm sure it's definitely happened before where I've bought a game, whether it be on like Xbox or PlayStation, and they just all of a sudden make it free and within like the next month or two. So oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, not fun, but it definitely is a lot more rewarding when you think, oh, I won't get that. I'll wait till it's cheaper, and then all of a sudden it's free. That's like exactly
True.
what you want. But then when the opposite happens, it's even worse. So you win
True.
some, you lose some, I guess. Huh?
I know. It just frustrated me because I'm telling you, mate. Like literally every time one of these games became free, my brother would just message me like, "Oh look, Nick, there's another game you bought that's coming out for free." I was like, "PlayStation, why do you hate me?" Yeah, it's a shame, but you can't tell the future. So what are you gonna do?
Afraid not. No.
You can only get it when you think it's good value. It's the best thing you can do.
Oh, that's true.
And I bought most of them on sale. It was definitely not full price. So what are you gonna do? Well, Modern Warfare 2 is full price, so F you, Activision. And they never make Call of Duty free anyway. Oh, just me.
They made the World War II one free, didn't they?
They did, and Black
Yeah.
Ops 3, but I'm just, trying to be a child.
Sure.
Another thing, Jay, on your point about games being free, what to try out Kingdom Hearts. I told you the other day, came out on Game Pass. Perfect opportunity for me to try it, give it a go. Played it for 10 minutes. Definitely too old for that. Definitely
Really?
too old. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's surprising. I think you'd probably like the latest one.
I
Honestly, I
played the
think
demo.
if you've never played any of the previous um, Kingdom Hearts, the third one's definitely a good one to jump into. But if you want to like actually enjoy the story, it's definitely worth going and just watching like hours and hours of videos about the previous story. It definitely can help. But that's to each their own on that one, definitely.
Yeah.
Third one, it's just very childish. It's an extremely childish game. But I think
Yeah, I
that's part
thought.
of its charm. I want to say, like it just sort of
Yeah.
takes you back to that nostalgic thing, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it would be a bit more. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Grown up, mature.
No, I thought it would be nostalgic, and I thought it would be sweet almost. I thought it would be tapping into that childlike sense of self.
Yeah.
But instead, it was like, oh, this is really cringy.
Oh, okay. So you're at a point of no return for the childish, cringy stuff, then.
I guess so.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I don't think. There's
The
definitely it
thing,
depends on what it is, to be honest.
sure. The thing that struck me when I was playing it, Jay, was I would rather watch my child. I would rather sit with them and watch them play it than play it myself.
Oh God, are you gonna be a dad?
Well, I'm just saying, if I have a kid and they
You've hit that point. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
and they like video games, like I'm starting to think that about now films and books. I'm thinking this would be really cool to watch with my kid, but not necessarily watch on my own. That's kind of my thought process
Oh, I
recently.
see what you mean. I see what you mean. I feel like I'm like that with music,
Mm,
definitely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mate, what if your kid didn't like music? What would you do?
If
Just
we didn't like the music
get
I
out.
like, I'd be pissed.
Oh dear, such
Thing is
a.
though, music has changed so much, especially like in the last like 6 months.
Do you think?
Like from what kids like.
Mm,
I follow sort of the trends of music. It's just it's odd. It's good though. I like where it's at. I do like where it's at because it's definitely quite close to what I'm liking. So I
fair,
think there's
fair.
like separate groups or whatever. Isn't there? There's like cliques of music. So
As
yeah.
always. Jay, live on recording, Would you like to pick an accent for me to do? Because I would like it if you did pick one for me.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I don't know. What, like of a person or just like of a place?
Either or
All
a
right.
time period.
Oh, time period. Do like ye old English.
Oh no.
Almost like Fable,
I'm not
I guess.
great. I'm not great with Shakespeare. So, ye old English. Dost thou wish to hear thy news?
There we go. Oh, there. Oh, that's actually
All
a lot
right.
better than what I was thinking. But there you go. Yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
Sweet.
I've only got 2 news stories this week, Jay. So, do you mind again if I go first? Would you like to go first?
Yeah, you go first. You're good.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, number 1, ladies and gentlemen, is an opinion piece from Kotaku. Zach Sveisen. Cool second name there, Zach. So, he wrote an article. Christ alive. An article which resonated with me quite a lot.
Oh, me massively too.
Yeah,
I love this.
yeah. So, Zach's title is "Running Around During Loading Screens is an Important Part of Assassin's Creed."
Yeah, I've always wondered why this was a thing. Like, I have no idea why they did that. Like, I don't know of any other game where you can move around during the load screens.
At least like that in a big cloudy
Yeah, at least like
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember since the first game, I was thinking, wow, this is a cool loading screen. And yes, it does get a little bit old when you've played the game for 50 hours and you think, well, I know all the controls here. But it does make the time go a bit quicker. And it's definitely something that I noticed lacking in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
And again, we don't want to say.
Good, though.
Do you? Because I don't.
Yeah.
I much
so
rather.
You missed it?
100%.
I feel like I got fed up with it once it got to Origins. I was like, yeah, I'm fed up with this.
But you did play like 4 Assassin's Creed games in a row.
That is true. I saw a lot of it in a very short amount of time. So yes, too much of a good thing in that instance, I guess.
Perhaps,
yeah.
But I wanted to raise this, Jay, because this goes on to the wider conversation of getting rid of loading screens, and maybe a question for you of, is there any loading screens that you like or that you do find nostalgic and you would actually rather see?
That is a great question. I don't know if there's any, like, it's difficult to say, because I feel like most of the loading screens now are just sort of like black with like a little thing in like the bottom right or the bottom left, right? Some sort of like intricate moving shape. Actually, I'd really like the Odyssey one, weirdly.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. I could stare at that thing for ages.
Interesting. I hate it.
Really? Oh, there you go. That's odd. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if I'd be really cool to like come up with some ideas for something. Like if you gave yourself a game and been like, right, how can I make the loading screen for this game interesting? But I think looking to the future, in my mind, I don't want to see any loading screens. If anything, I think this should just be still images, or just a black screen with a little thing in the bottom right. Like to me, it shouldn't. If anything, I think loading screens just hinder the game on one side of things, but then obviously you need loading screens if you want to like learn about hints and tips and figuring out controls. It's very difficult. It really is like quite a personal thing, I guess, because for me they don't really help me that much. The hints and the tips. So if anything, they're more of like, oh, can this loading screen just be over already? On some occasions, but thankfully recently with a lot of these loading screens, they've been getting quicker and quicker, so I haven't needed to worry about that. I just want to get into the action quicker. So
I
maybe artwork. If it was like concept art, I'd be like, cool. It's like something cool to look at.
Dude, every loading screen should be concept art. We need more concept art in the world.
It should literally be like a flip book of artwork for the
game. Exactly. I totally get your point, Jay, and I agree with it. If I'm going to play Doom Eternal, I want to jump on and go. But then there's also an element of self-reflection, which is
that's true.
Maybe things like, well, The Last of Us Part 2 basically has 0 loading screens as well, but which is something I don't think I talked about in our special for it, Jay. But what I'm trying to say is maybe we can have something like a transition screen, which is like here's a concept art, but because the loading times are so quick, you can just go right through. You just press the button and go through.
Maybe
But
it
maybe
gives
you
you an
want to look
option,
at it. Yeah.
right? Maybe it says in the bottom right,
Oh.
like skip load screen or something like that. Like either continue watching this concept art or these hints. Like
Yeah.
it should really give you the option whether you want to skip through or not, right? Like
Yeah.
let it
Yeah.
load for as long as it needs to, and then stop it, and then a button come up saying press if you want to continue.
Yeah.
I feel like they used to do that, and then they got rid of it, didn't they?
My question is, Jay, what if they put that option up and then the option's like, by the way, this will help the game run better? You know, will that cause friction? Will that cause a lot of divisiveness?
Um,
You know what I mean?
what you mean that the game would run better if there was more loading screens?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically they do because it gives them longer to load. But if they don't need that
Hmm.
long to load, then it doesn't matter anyway, does it?
True. True.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. Yeah, I quite like this. It's quite
Interesting.
an interesting thing. But yeah, for me, the future is almost as it like basically no loading screen. Like just have
I,
it be a picture and then give us the option to continue if not, or a hint.
and
Like
I
let's stick with the hints, but just let us continue.
and I
Which
assume
is
you're
quite fun.
also talking about hidden loading screens or even booting up games. You want that to be quicker. You don't want the
Oh,
developer logo to always take 12 seconds and all that kind of
that I
stuff.
don't mind as much because in my eyes, like that can take. I'd say one of the longest like loading screens is Borderlands 3. It takes absolutely forever to boot up.
Oh, Jay, it might be the longest loading screen I've ever had, truly.
But I don't mind that as long as it isn't too long. Like if it's like between anything longer than a minute is obnoxious. So anything
Agreed.
under that is fine, I'd say. You were saying before about loading screens being like transitions. That's actually not a bad idea. Like sometimes after like an emotional moment or quite maybe like a heated moment, sometimes you just want a bit of a silence, don't you? You don't want to automatically just like shove right into the action next. So a lot of people might not even think that, but it just helps sometimes, I imagine. Sometimes you just want a moment to just pause, like because sometimes when you go in from the loading screen to the next part, if there's a cutscene that you can't pause, which most of the time you can, but even if there isn't something you need to watch and doesn't let you do it, you then can't even like you know take in what just happened, so it kind of muddles things up for you anyway. So yeah, I think it's actually can be quite a good pause sometimes.
Well, I guess the moving forward, the games will be designed with no loading screens in mind. So maybe they'll put in place slower
Something,
cinema.
yeah.
Yeah, like so when they want that reflection moment, maybe they'll have your player look at the gun for a bit before he moves on, kind of thing. You know, maybe they'll design it so that the pace is directly designed by the game designers
We should
rather
keep
than
an eye
loading
on
screens.
this. I think this will be quite a good thing to talk about in the future. Like, what is, what are they going to put in place to not necessarily like remedy it, but like to just to see what they do. Because obviously, developers have tricks for loading things that they're like squeezing through tight walls or whatever. But I imagine they don't. They probably won't need that as much. I'm just wanting to be impressed by how quick these load times are. That's all I want.
I mean, you bring up another good point, Jay. Maybe this has also removed those weird loading barriers that we're familiar with,
I
but we
hope
don't
so because
realise.
they're not. There's a lot of them in Ghost. I will say that.
Okay.
Well, not like a lot, but they are before every certain shrine, basically. Like you have to go through like one or two to get to a shrine or whatever. But yeah, it would be nice to. They can sometimes help with the way the game is. Like in Ghosts thing, obviously having to like go through all these caves and climb up this mountain to get to the shrine. It kind of lends itself to there being like you know through nature these like formations of caves or whatever, right? Which is just loading things, but makes sense. I think as long as they make sense, I'm not too bothered by it, to be honest. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that and see what the future does with that. See what they
For
come up with.
sure. For sure.
All right, what's the
Next
next
up,
one?
Jay.
Yeah.
Joe Screbbles over at IGN. Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play according to a retail listing and some other sources.
Yeah, I saw this.
Moreover, it will run up to 120 frames per second on Xbox Series X. So
Oh,
a
that's
couple of
insane.
mate, a couple of things on this. 120 frames for me is a bit excessive. I think for the competitive element of gaming, fair enough. I know they like that sort of thing. The free to play thing is the thing to focus on here because that is crazy to me because not only is this game now on Game Pass, the multiplayer is free. I'm not sure how Microsoft is making money at this point through their games, Jay. What are your thoughts?
Seems to me like they know they're going to be making a lot of money from the game itself.
Microtransactions?
No, I mean obviously you got to buy the game, right? Still.
Well, no, it's on Game Pass though.
Oh, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Damn. Yes, I think I don't know.
You know what I mean? You know
Oh,
what I
that
mean?
is, yeah. I mean, they must have figured this out. They must have like calculations, predictions about certain things,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
like certain numbers. I actually kind of want to make a point about this in the future when it comes to the later news stories, how it might lend to creating some sort of answer for this. Um,
There's rumors that it'll be a battle
yes.
pass system similar to most multiplayer games at this point, which, to be fair, I enjoy the system itself.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see again how games like Apex Legends or Fortnite have influenced other games in terms of their free to play aspect.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
there'll have to be some sort of like skin, like
mm,
gun skin sort of microtransactions. They'll have to. I mean, they'll almost have to be. Like like a weekly featured, like get it this week, if not you won't ever get it again, or something like that.
yeah.
And there'll be like a currency that will be able to use in game and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't really see. I mean, that is a bad thing technically, but if they need to make money, they got to make money, haven't they? So I
Yeah,
don't know. I feel like most multiplayer things now kind of have to be free to play nowadays.
to get the players in because it's so
Yeah,
competitive.
I think because there's so many of them now that if you're given the opportunity to go for the free to play multiplayer game versus the one that costs you, 40 to 60 pounds to buy the actual game with the campaign and the multiplayer, you're probably more likely to go with the one that's free. Because I mean, you're basically having to fight Fortnite. Like every multiplayer game that comes out now is like, right, what do we do to beat Fortnite? So rule number one is it has to be free to play. Rule number two, copy Fortnite and change it slightly. That's basically the only two rules nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Just make it interesting enough for it to be warranted to play. So I think Fortnite has just set a precedent for the rest of multiplayer games now.
My concern with
I think
that
that's
train
it.
of thought, Jet, I agree with you. My concern
Yeah,
with that train of thought is instead of creating games to innovate, they're creating games to beat the competitor, if that makes sense. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
yeah,
Like, if Fortnite's running at, like, let's say Fortnite looked like Halo and it was running at a higher frame rate and had more players in each match, maybe the designers would go, oh, okay, we need to beat this technically. But in terms of, let's make it a battle royale game and see if we can beat Fortnite, it's kind of like, well, you're not doing anything innovative. Innovative?
yeah.
Yeah, that's the word, right?
Um,
Or you do an Apex Legends and you innovate within the genre. I don't know.
yeah, it's weird. I mean, Halo. So is this multiplayer going to be the same as previous Halos, or is it
Don't
going to
know,
be slightly
mate.
different? That's the thing. I don't know. Actually, by hearing this has definitely made me want to buy Halo more. I'll tell you that right now. Like
Really?
if I wasn't going to play it before, this is making me want to play at least the multiplayer. It's going to be free. Like I haven't played Halo multiplayer since Halo 3. I don't think. So this is like, oh, I actually kind of wouldn't mind playing this now. So I think that might be the other side of it. It's like, well, you're going to get if something's free, people are going to play it, whether it be a day, whether it be a week, like an hour. As long as the eyeballs are playing it, there's a chance of them buying something. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, ultimately, I think in the future, this whole free to play, buy our skins in game if you want to, there'll probably be some uproar about it. But right now, if it's got a good model, then they've got to make use of that. I guess until it runs out, until people realize that they probably shouldn't be doing that. I guess. Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
I think this is good. I kind of want to play it more now. So it's definitely doing its job.
if
120, man. Oh god, that's gonna be so insane.
if the rumored date slash week is correct for the launch of this console, Jay, that week will have Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite release
And Assassin's Creed.
and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's gonna be. There's
It's like October
That might be the other
27th all
reason
over
too.
again.
You bring up a
What's
good point.
that?
That might be the other reason. People are already paying money for Cyberpunk and for Assassin's Creed, so now Halo's thinking, right, how do we get people to play this? Even though two other massive
Mm,
games are coming out in the same week, make it free to play. Make it cost £1 on Xbox. Done. You can have all three games for basically like the price of two,
crazy.
but people are still
Crazy.
going to be playing Halo. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's probably a good idea on their part to see how much they make, how many get sold. I actually might. I want to probably make a prediction saying this Halo might be one of the best-selling Halos ever, but it comes out.
I hope so, mate. I want a new peak for Halo. Maybe not
I
Halo
think this
3 peak.
might be the
That's
start of like a new thing for Halo. I kind
it
of
will
hope so
be.
because Halo for me lost its charm years ago.
Dude, they're talking about a 10-year plan. I mean, they're basically just behind Bungie and Destiny,
I was going to say because Destiny
but
made a 10-year plan.
yeah.
What, 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago? So
But to be fair, they're delivering it on Destiny 2, and
oh, massively, yeah. If they can do the
that
same thing with Halo, it'd be brilliant.
yeah, exactly. And I think there is an argument to be had that Destiny is the first proper and best proper game as a service, whatever you want to call it,
Oh yeah,
at the
other than
moment.
WoW, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah. Thinking more console.
Yeah, sure, console.
Yeah. Jay, mate, you got lots you want to talk about, so I will hand it over to you. Do you mind if I jump in just to say who's wrote them before you do
Yep,
them, or
go
do you
for
want
it.
to
Yep.
do it?
No, you're all
Okay.
right. You can say it. Fine.
So, Joe Scrubbles from IGN on this one, guys.
Yeah. So Gabe Newell. Do you know that name?
I do, sir. I do.
You should do because he's quite a big part of the gaming community. He's the
Yes.
Steam guy. He's basically the guy who came up with Steam and WoW.
Founder. I think. Yeah. Is he co-founder? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's co-founder. So he got stuck in New Zealand from recent events and has been there ever since. So he other
Not a
than
bad
being,
place to get stuck in.
I guess, but him being bored there, he decided to get a spot on a quite a famous talk show over there, like a news talk show, which I know a lot of other comedians, stroke celebrities have been on. Um, and they were asking because he's part of the whole gaming universe. They wanted to ask him, which one's better, Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5? And he said, without even hesitation, he said Xbox Series X. And they asked him why, and he says, because it's better. And I thought, how
Jeez.
certain of yourself do you have to be about that? Like, how insane? Because he has no stake in the game when it comes to the
Yeah.
consoles. He's
Yeah.
obviously PC Master Race, right? So it doesn't matter what he says, but him saying that definitely has some sort of influence over the potential sales of one over the other, 100%. I think there's a lot
Yes.
of people. There's definitely a lot of a cross audience when it comes to Steam play versus Xbox and PlayStation players, definitely. So yeah, it's quite. It kind of made me think, wow, I wonder, what this means for the future of the sales now. Does this affect anything? I doubt it, but it probably has some level of effect, and I'm quite intrigued as to why he thinks so. I mean, I specs wise, I do think the Xbox actually is better, but in terms of games that are coming out, is it better in that instance? That's the thing. Would you rather play on a console that doesn't work? Not necessarily doesn't work. Would you rather play a game on a console that isn't as good as another console, but the game is better? That's the question, I guess, at the end of the day, right?
So,
But I
like, would
guess,
you buy your third-party games on Xbox, kind of thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, mate. You bring up some great questions. I think to your first point, it absolutely influences the race.
mm,
Second point, that is this comment, Jay,
yeah,
has now made me go, oh, actually, maybe I should get an Xbox because specs wise, it is better. Maybe
yeah.
Cyberpunk will run better on Xbox, so I will
Oh
buy all
no,
my third party
I
games
think
on
I was
Xbox.
getting Cyberpunk on Xbox regardless.
Sure, sure,
Same with Assassin's Creed.
sure. Well, I
So
learned the other day that the Xbox One is marginally lower in spec than the PS4,
yeah,
hence
marginally.
perhaps the issues with Fallen Order on my version, on the Xbox
Oh, I
One
guess.
version.
Um, I guess in this case, then Xbox are only marginally better than the PS5.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
A lower difference than the difference between PS4 and Xbox One, I think.
I think what they've both tried to do is get to the same place, but they've just managed to get there differently.
Hmm.
Like PlayStation have got there in a slightly different route. They've got to the same end, I think.
What router? Wi-Fi router?
No, I mean they've like no, I mean it's like
uh,
Xbox and PlayStation 5 I think have the same capabilities when it comes to being able to run maybe like a 4K game, 120 frames. It's just Xbox uses slightly different technology versus the PlayStation. But the Xbox looks like it's using a higher grade version of what the PlayStation are using. And that again, that might even come down to price. Like this makes me think more that the Xbox is actually probably going to be cost more, and I don't know by how much. That's the thing, because they're gonna. Because imagine, right, you sell an Xbox that is obviously better specs than PlayStation, and you sell it at 550 base, but you know that you're going to sell more because yours is at a higher spec versus the PlayStation, who thinks that they're going to sell more but at a lower spec but at a lower price. Like, it's such a hard thing to explain, but I guess Xbox are thinking they're gonna sell more because they've got the advantage when it comes to specs, I guess, right? So they've predicted they're going to sell more, so maybe they're even going to bump their price up more, which meant that they could actually improve their console. So I think this just proves more than anything that as long as we know that the Xbox costs more, PlayStation have taken quite a big, not PlayStation, Microsoft have taken quite a big risk potentially.
I just can't see them thinking they'll beat PS5, Jay, because of the games. That's
Yeah, it's
my
difficult. I think
perspective.
they're trying really hard, aren't they? That's the thing.
Mm.
Yeah, this is such a weird like concept of like business and everything, isn't it? Like, who's going to sell more? I really, honestly, I kind of just want to know. I want to like jump in the future a couple of months and just find out like who won. Thing is, we won't know
Patience.
really, like for years, not really, will we? Like
We
when it comes
won't.
down to
We
like
won't.
not necessarily like final sales, but like quite a heavy distance in sales. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Jay, I think for game console owners, at least going from the last generation, it seems that games rule everything. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's odd, that isn't it? Most of my choices on console come from game versus specs,
Spec.
so
Yeah.
it's definitely all about. It's not about the player; it's about the game, I guess. But in this instance, like people say, like it's not about the car; it's about the driver. Not the player; it's the game. It's not the console; it's the game. I don't know, something like
Mm.
that. One of those. I'm sure that works somehow. Right, next thing. You might be fairly interested in this. I don't know.
Joe
Cuphead.
Scrabble to my GN.
Yeah, Cuphead is just like surprise release on PlayStation. So
Boom.
it's now out on PS4. I already have it on Xbox. It's only like play it still. But there's
Oh,
still no
mate,
word
it's a
about
must.
this.
It's a must play. It's a must play.
No news on the delicious Last Course DLC. We still don't know anything about when it's coming out. I don't think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure
This
there's a lot of
PS4
people.
this PS4 drop. So here's the situation, Jay.
Yeah.
So MDHR, the new studio, they made this game. It sounded like Microsoft helped fund them to make the game, hence the
That makes sense. Yeah.
exclusivity to Xbox for a period. Then came on Nintendo Switch and has now come on PS4. Not a huge surprise. Microsoft don't own the studio or anything. It just seemed like they had a timed
I'm surprised
exclusivity
actually. I
deal.
feel like Microsoft would have bought them. Like
They're
they seem
just
like the kind of
really
company who'd be
new.
like, we want to buy you.
I think they might have tried, but
Yeah.
MDHR is in their infancy, so they might be like, "Well, we don't want to, we don't want to go with anyone just yet. We're still finding our feet, maybe."
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe in
On
the
the
future.
Yeah, for sure. On the topic of the Last Course DLC, mate. I mean, I've told you this. I'm getting quite impatient with it now. It got announced 2 years ago.
See, this
It's
is what I quite
DLC.
like about having not played this game yet, because I know I'm going to love this game. But I kind of feel like once I know that the DLC is coming out, I can then start playing this, because then I can like have it right after potentially.
I think though the game itself has enough Cuphead in it. Could be wrong. Does that
Yeah,
make
you're right.
sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I'm not saying that just because I want to like have it all straight
No,
away.
no, I feel you. I
I
feel
feel
you.
like it usually when a new game release, let's say like a game comes out and I know I want to play it, but I want to savor it for the right moment, and then the sequel comes out in like 6 months. I'm like, right, I now have the motivation to at least attempt to try and play the first one and enjoy it now, rather than having to like have wait until the second one comes out for me to then want to play it more. So it just, if anything, a release date for like a sequel or some level of DLC for me is more just like motivation most of the time. So yeah, I'm kind of glad about this, I guess, with the Cuphead stuff. I won't buy it on PS4, I don't think.
No, no, mate. Would recommend. Hopefully, we can get around to playing it at some point.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Happy
mind
to.
playing it co-op, I guess. Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
or
pretty
I mean,
fun.
like even like I'm happy to talk you. I mean, talk you through it. I
I've
have
watched so
got.
many streamers play this game, but I haven't I've not watched it from start to finish. So there's a lot in the middle I don't know. I know a lot of the start stuff, I know a lot of the end stuff, I just don't know the middle. So
Yeah, no, I think it'd be good. I mean, you're a Dark Souls pro. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
okay, shall we move on to the next one?
Next up comes from Matt TM Kim at IGN.
Yeah, so Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Oh,
There was.
hold on, Jay. Hold on. Sorry. Bear me. Sorry.
Oh, you're
Bear me
good.
2 seconds. Yeah, sorry, guys. This one comes from US Gamer, but
Hmm.
IGN reporting on it. Please carry
Yeah.
on, Jay.
Yeah, so Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I think one of the biggest things from this game in its heyday was the soundtrack, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of the reason why they didn't make this game again in like a HD version or whatever, or like a reboot like they're doing now, was because they couldn't get the licensing for the music. But now, closer to release, it seems like they're getting more and more artists to be added onto the soundtrack. I haven't looked through them properly, but this actually makes me want to play the game more and more now.
The remake.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think I was definitely going to get it anyway because I definitely played the first two. Which I didn't play them at a time where it could feel nostalgic for me. But I can't remember any of the songs from it, not really, unless I maybe like listen to the soundtrack properly. For me, soundtracks, when it comes to skating games specifically, more of my nostalgic memory comes from like Skate 1 and 2 and 3, and also maybe Tony Hawk's. I want to say there was a Tony Hawk's game like number 8, I want to say. I think it was one of the first games on 360, and that has quite a large soundtrack nostalgia for me.
Mm.
I kind of want to just play this game and like get that feeling, but in today rather than like going back and playing it again because the old game obviously doesn't hold up very well. So
Yeah.
I've just been in the mood for a really good skate game. Like this new game Skater XL that's come out, which is basically supposed to be the next Skate, which isn't really. It's definitely like different, but I kind of want something a bit more Tony Hawk's inspired. So I'm looking
And I
forward to it.
guess you're part of that Skate 4
Oh,
diehard
100%.
fan base.
100%. I love all the skate games. Skate
Mm.
1 is definitely the best one. 100%. Skate 2 was definitely an improvement, but it was different. Skate 3 was a bit of a letdown. So yeah, definitely part of the skate community.
Okay,
But I kind
cool.
of want to like know some more music. I'm looking forward to
Mm.
it. Should we?
Mm.
Because I used to know quite a lot of like pro skaters like during the skate days, but now I've sort of fallen out of that world. So I kind of want to get back into it again at some point.
I hope this is more of a revival than that attempted Guitar Hero revival about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think this will do some good things. He's also releasing a documentary, Tony
Yes.
Hawk documentary that comes out in about 2 weeks, which I think is supposed to be like a somewhat of a
Prelude.
preamble,
Yeah.
prelude to the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to watch that as well. That'll be
It
quite fun.
sounds like they're doing the right moves.
100%. Okay,
Next
next
up
one.
comes from Matt Perslow at IGN.
Yeah, so I was speaking to you about how I was quite a big Warhammer game fan.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like they're actually making a lot more moves in the gaming community than I expected. So right now, they have 73 licenses when it comes to Warhammer and games, I want to say. And they're signing a new one every 2 to 3 months, and their goal is to get into the AAA video game world. Because I think at the moment they're definitely still in that AA section. And I think if anything, that this might sound like a bad thing, I guess, is that I think they're trying to go for quantity rather than quality, which I
Mm.
think is what's been their biggest downfall. But the good side of that when it happens is notoriety, right? Because like if you see 73 games of a Warhammer game, you're gonna go, well, if there's this many, why is there this many? I might as well try one and see what the thing is.
Bit
They
like the
usually,
Dynasty Warriors effect.
yeah, I kind of just they want to just get their name recognized, even though Warhammer is such a massive bloody brand as it is. They obviously want to be bigger. So I think to have a goal to be a AAA like Warhammer game is definitely admirable, and I'd love to see that. I think if anything, they're literally just throwing like darts at a dartboard and just hoping one hits that bullseye. And I think they've definitely gotten close in the past, and they're just throwing as many as they possibly can right now. Every 2 to 3 months, they're like a new one, a new one, a new one.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping to see if one of these hits a bullseye, and I'd love that to happen because it definitely. I don't think it deserves to have that happen necessarily, but I'd like to see it because I'm such a fan of that franchise. So this is just news in that direction that it could possibly happen at some point in the future.
So, Jay, the Dark Tide game reveal that we saw, is Dark
Yeah.
Tide a license that they already have? I'm just trying to
Um,
understand how these licenses work and how they assign different developers different games and stuff. Like, is Vermintide a
a
series
license.
of
Yeah, I guess
Warhammer
so.
or
Yeah, Vermintide isn't really like part of like the. So if anything, you can break down Warhammer into like two like categories. You've got the 40k, and you've got the Sigma or the Age of Sigma, which is basically just like the original Warhammer stuff. They've changed the name so many times over the last couple of years. But the Age of Sigma is basically like the fantasy kind of like fable type,
yeah.
swords and witch hunters and stuff like that, versus the 40k, which is more about space and about space marines and aliens and stuff and orcs and stuff like that, right? So this Dark Tide one is obviously a 40k one, and I think they're definitely going to have more luck with the 40k side of things because it's more, I think, geared towards AAA. I think they both could do well. I think they've gotten so close to AAA, so close.
Yeah, my
Although I
next
think they
question,
actually
Jay,
have
was
hit it,
that
honestly.
is none of these games double AAA then quality?
I'd say one of them, one or two of them is the Total War games they've done. I'd say are pretty AAA.
Yeah,
It's
Creative
hard to say.
Assembly.
It's really hard to say, honestly. They're
Okay.
definitely like really good games. They're definitely worthy of being up
I feel your encouragement for the seeing what a
there.
game
But
would
yeah,
look
this
like
is
with
good
that
news in
budget.
general. Huh?
Yeah. I can see your encouragement for wanting to see a game like that at AAA
Yeah,
level. I get that.
yeah. I mean, I think with obviously the new tech, they've definitely got a chance of being able to show off a bit more because these types of stories and visuals definitely require a bit more technology. It seems like so it might be gearing up towards it hopefully, and it also just requires a bigger budget. I think they're spreading themselves too thin. Like they've got this. Let's say they've got a budget of like 100 million, and they've got 73 people to give that 100 million to. You're only going to be giving each one 1.2 ish million, right, or like 1.03 million, which isn't really enough. You'd rather give 50 million to one and 50 million to the other because you're going to get two good games versus 73 not so good games. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if any of them stick.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see if they do because I want a good console Warhammer game. I feel like there's been a lot of good PC ones, just not a lot of good console ones. So yeah.
Okay. The next story comes from Modern Warzone, Doug Dagnabbit, but Jay will be reading the IGN story.
Yeah, so the next Call of Duty is definitely gonna be, shown
Coming at
soon
some point. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the last game that came out was in October.
Yeah, Jay, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, talk about the fact that we haven't got a release date or prices for the new consoles yet. We haven't even seen the new Call of Duty yet.
Honestly, I feel like you usually see Call of Duty like end of June, middle of July, and we're
If
obviously
not
past that
earlier.
point, if not earlier, and we're
Yeah.
obviously past that point. So obviously there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
But with a lot of previous examples of this, so that even happened with the new Halo. There tends to be some sort of like gaming snack that has some sort of like double XP or some sort of like pre-order code that comes along with buying the snack. You have like a chance to win a special prize for the game, right? And they do this a lot with like Doritos and like energy drinks like Monster and stuff. But it seems like this has already happened with the new Call of Duty, but it's given away the name for the new Call of Duty game potentially too early or earlier than was what had been hoped. So the potential new name for the game is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which to me seems like Black Ops 5, I guess, right? But they don't want to call it 5. They want to have like this the name of it be to what the actual game is about. And the Cold War, from what I know, is the 60s, right? Cold War.
Yes.
It's like basically like oh no, it's
So
later than that. Cold War. I mean, the Cold War technically was around for a while. It's from 47 to 91.
yeah. I mean, the key Cold War conflict, I think, is the late '60s. So that is the building of armaments between the US versus Russia. So they're both
Yeah.
just building so many nuclear bombs, and it's like, are they going to fire one? Are they going to fire one? And it's that escalation, I think.
So I think we can gauge from the title of this then that the potential timeline for this game is going to be after World War II, but during potentially the 60s and 70s and maybe even the 80s as well. It's going to be a Russia versus America type Call of Duty game, which I'm actually kind of looking forward to. I guess we've definitely had this before with I think the original Modern Warfare. There was definitely some slight Eastern European Russian influence there, but I don't think we've had like a full-on Russia versus America type Call of Duty. So this actually seems quite interesting. This is definitely one that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to. Also, it kind of reminds me of like how I imagine Wolfenstein to be, in like what Wolfenstein definitely could be in the future, like the '60s, like the classic like American Dream type game, almost a little bit like what's it called? Alien. What's the Alien game that just came out?
Colonial Marines.
No,
Oh, Alien
bloody
Isolation.
no.
What?
uh, Damn it! Destroy All Humans. There we go.
Oh, I thought you
Like
meant
that.
the Alien. Oh,
No, like a Destroy All
sorry.
Humans type, like
Completely showing.
classic,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
almost like a Fallout type thing. But I kind of imagine this new Call of Duty almost being like Call of Duty Fallout, basically,
Right.
like
Yeah.
atomic bombs and stuff like that.
Yeah. The weird
Russian
thing about
spies in
the weird,
America.
the weird thing about this one, mate, is that Black Ops 1 was already, as far as I remember, quite Cold War focused. So it will be interesting to
What? Yeah, I
see.
guess. Yeah, maybe they're going to do like a different story during the same time. I don't know. But yeah, this is a potential name for it. So I guess you could call this a leak in some regard.
Do you like the name, Jay?
Yeah, I quite like it. I like the logo. It looks quite cool.
It's
I want
very
to see some gameplay though.
it's such a what it reminds me of the Call of Duty World War II name, where I just think,
Yeah,
wow, you really don't want to mess about with what this game is, do you? Just
I
call
think
it the name of the
I think they're
war.
trying to get themselves away from numbers and more just like titles now.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
like
yeah,
I
100%.
loved Call of Duty, the big red one.
Yes.
Like that was a good title for the old Call of Duty, right? I
Yes.
guess Call
Yeah.
of Duty Modern Warfare, and then once numbers started to get into it, people started to get a bit like, bit samey, I guess. I think they want to try and hopefully this Cold War is completely different to previous Black Ops. I hope it's like just like a similar but different. I think a lot of games nowadays, new technology of a new console requires new ideas for new games. I think we need like a whole reset, like almost like a decade reset. Like 2010 to 2020 is going to be over soon. This whole new decade is going to be a new decade for new resets of games, hopefully. Not necessarily reboots, but like a similar thing, I guess. A reset and a reboot have a very fine line.
Yeah.
They've done it with a lot of films recently, so hopefully they'll be able to have some pretty good success there. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
it for news.
All right. Thank you very
What is
much, Jay.
this next one? I'm very confused by this.
I'm glad you asked, Jay. So, we have a write-in from my... Sorry, I know this makes a lot of noise on the mic. We have a write-in from my brother who suggested a new topic for this week.
Okay.
My brother does the designs for the thumbnails and... Yeah, thumbnails. So, he got inspiration from the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
See,
So I've
it's
caught...
happened again, Nick.
No, come on. Come
Yeah.
on.
I watched this film many years ago
Yeah.
and loved it, and thought I'm not going to watch this film again until I feel like I really need to. And I have it again recently, and I was going to watch it like last week, but then just like forgot about it. So if I had watched it, it would have been more of one of those like coincidences. But I have it to watch,
Jeez.
so it's kind of a coincidence. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so in tribute to that, we've called this Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Game. So,
Interesting.
very interesting. So
Yeah,
let me
curious.
read out what my brother said. So he said he's got a topic for us to do. So 2 games we need to think about here, and I'll go first because I know you're a bit on the spot. So firstly, if you don't know, this isn't a spoiler for the film. People can get their minds erased. So the film's about this guy who wants to get his mind erased with this girlfriend who's broke up with, and he can't deal with the emotional trauma and torment of that breakup. So he wants to get rid of all the memories associated with her so he can move on with his life. Amazing film.
Very.
So my brother asks, which game would we choose which we can get erased and then we can play it again from scratch because we want to experience it for the first time? Game number 2, we want it erased because it was that bad. We wish we had never played it.
Wow.
So I'll go first because I know you want to think about yours, Jay.
Yeah.
Number 1, a
Damn.
game to replay from start. I've got 2 choices. I'm copping out. First one is, not surprisingly, The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
Because it was such a journey, there's no way I'm ever going back to not knowing that game. Choice number 2, which I'll focus on, which I think is probably my actual choice, Shadow of the Colossus. So when I played the remake of that game, I realised just how special the first playthrough was in terms of fearing the creatures, having a real resonance once you've killed them and you see them fall and you think, oh, why have I done that every single time this happened? So you meet the creatures, they become aggressive, or you make them aggressive, and you kill them, and then you have this amazing reflective moment after every time this amazing piece of music comes in, and you think, oh my God, why have I done that? And the story starts to unfold, and you get to about the 14th Colossi, and you think, is this actually got any story in it whatsoever? And then you realize by the end of the game, there is a story. It's a cool story, and it's really amazing when you think about how simple it is. And by the time the ending moments come, the game has built this thing up, and it's just incredible. And I wish I could play that game again, didn't know for 10 years what had happened in this game. Finally played it on the PS3 remaster, and I wish I could play that game again from scratch because it is a truly unique experience.
So you want to play the first one or the second one again?
Shadow of the Colossus. Probably second one.
No, I mean Last of Us.
Second
I
one.
thought you said you wanted to get rid of the Last of Us.
No. So I've got 2 choices for
I see.
which game I want to play from scratch to experience it for the first time.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Shadow of the Colossus, but Last of Us Part 2's up there. What game would you like to start from scratch? Well, I've got an idea, but what game?
LA Noire.
Okay.
I think is one. If I had to pick another one, it'd probably be Vampire.
Wow, we have to talk about this vampire game, man. This is crazy.
It's weird. My dad's playing it right now. He's actually really enjoying it.
Okay.
It's on sale on PC or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd play those. LA Noire, I just love like murder mysteries, so like being able to like rediscover all that again would just be amazing because it's set in that like 50s period, like right after the war, when there were still like soldiers like having problems with their like home life or whatever because of like PTSD and stuff.
Do you know all of the results now offhand of all the mystery murders, so you know exactly who done it?
Yeah,
why?
I think I know that game back to front basically.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't like platinumed it because one of the trophies is just like annoying as hell. But I've done everything else. I've done like 99.9% of it. So yeah, I know everything about that. Vampire was just like a really good story, and the combat was amazing. In terms of a game, so did you say your game you didn't want to play anymore?
No, I haven't. No.
Do you want to do yours, and then I'll think a bit more about mine?
Okay. Yeah. Mine's Watch Dogs. It's not
Wow.
necessarily the worst game I've ever played, but it's the game which I look back on and think that was average. That was the most average game I've ever played, and I wish I could take all those hours back. That's the game that stands out to me. I have there's, to be fair, there's almost no need to get rid of the memories because I basically have no memories from that game because nothing in it is memorable to me. So
I definitely know I probably have other options, but the only one I can really think of right now is probably No Man's Sky.
Oh, okay.
Because I bought it thinking it was going to be amazing, and then it turned out not to be that good. It definitely was fun. Like it was a fun game. I think it definitely probably would be a lot more fun if I played it now. But if I'm talking about like original release, I'd probably pick that. I wish I'd never bought that, to be honest.
Have you played it since?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind playing it again though, just to see what it's like.
Yeah,
I think it'd be quite fun to play with someone as well, potentially.
definitely.
Hard to say. Yeah, I know there has to be another one. I should probably I should think
Wait,
a bit more about that.
do you mind if you dive a bit deeper then into how disappointed you were with it?
What, No Man's Sky?
Mm.
Yeah, I just think it definitely is like a really, really good game. It's like hard to pinpoint. I guess I think if they'd like I said with the late from what I've seen of the later release, I think if they released that a year ago, the game would have done 10 times better, and it would have made me feel a lot better about having played it. But when I first played it, there was like so much crap around it initially. I was like, oh, I kind of like it's kind of making me feel bad for having purchased it,
Yeah, bit like part two for
even though it
me.
was fun. So yeah, I think it was more just to do with the actual like talking around it than the actual game itself. Weird how much of an
It
influence it can
confused
have.
your
Yeah, it does.
perception.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
you want to be able to like trust to an extent what people on the internet say, to an extent, obviously. Um, but yeah, if you hear too much of a bad thing about it, then you kind of can't argue too much, can you? So, but I
yeah.
did really enjoy the game still. But yeah, I didn't kind of wish I hadn't. I wish I just like bought it later, like you said, with like buying a game and then it becoming free. Like I guess it's like a similar type of feeling. I'm pretty sure No Man's Sky was free at one point.
Yeah, I think it might be on Game Pass.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I would have preferred getting it on Game Pass then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Cool topic though.
Yeah, great
So that
topic.
was cool. So Jay, next movement was your idea.
Yeah.
You want to do a few more lists, and I agree. We should do
Yeah, 'cause
more
I feel like
lists.
we've got the movement two, I guess, which is either a list of fun fact or a game quote. I've definitely done fun facts and game quotes in the past, but we've never really touched on lists, I don't think.
Yes,
I
correct.
kind of wanted to like do something with that, have it be a bit more of a regular thing, because I feel like top threes, top fives, and top tens can be quite interesting, especially if we delve a bit deeper as to why.
Yes. And not necessarily it's our lists, right? We're not
Yeah,
making the
this isn't.
definitive one.
No, this isn't like this isn't Bible. This isn't scripture. This is what
Yeah.
we think at this age. We could have said something completely different 10 years ago and 10 years in the future. So
And we could say something different tomorrow.
exactly, it all changes on the day most of the time. But
Yeah.
from what we're feeling right now, with what we're going off, this is like almost like a time capsule, I guess. This is really
Exactly that. Exactly that for all the aliens out there. So this week, Jay,
yeah.
I put forward a case for you. You agreed. Top
Yes.
3 Rockstar games of all or your favorites.
Right now.
Your
Yeah.
favorite top 3
I've already mentioned one
Rockstar
of them.
games. Yes, you have. Yes,
Shall I
you have.
start? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, so we'll do you number 3, me number 3, you number 2,
Okay.
blah blah blah. Okay, so you
Yeah,
go
that
number
might be
3.
quite difficult, right? So the ones I have are that one. I kind of want to lend like bunch a few together potentially because a
Incorrect.
lot of
I need
that.
the definitive list.
Okay, all right. Damn it.
I need the
You,
definitive
you
list.
bum.
You,
Okay, all
you
right,
bubble.
all right. Okay, number three. Then I'll have to give to, I guess.
Ooh.
Damn it. It's one of the Grand Theft Autos, I think,
Okay.
but I honestly can't decide which one.
Which ones are you struggling with? Is there anything I can do to help?
There's four that I'm struggling with.
Okay, that's too many.
Exactly. That's why it's so difficult. Each of these have a different place in my mind and my heart.
If it helps you, Jay, I personally think the GTA 5 is the best one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to five then. Five is my number three pick.
Okay.
Yeah, if I ever really really had to think about it, like the story, which is so well done.
Yeah.
The fact there was three characters you can play, it's still played today. It's definitely probably one of the best long running Grand Theft Autos. So yeah, GTA 5 is probably my number three. Definitely. I want to play it again really bad.
Should we talk about some of the things you love about it then?
Yeah. Okay.
Specifically.
I mean,
It's been a while. I assume you played it on Xbox 360 when it first came out.
yeah, I think I might have even. Yeah, I think. Oh god, I can't even remember now. Yeah, it must have been 360. which is odd to say because it doesn't feel like a 360 game to me.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Like to
I
me,
was
Grand Theft Auto only came out 4 or 5 years ago. In my mind, it didn't. I know, but in my mind, it didn't come out that long ago.
Yeah. It just a bit of context, Jay. I wasn't part of this hype at all, so I'd really like to get your
Oh, that's interesting.
perspective.
So you haven't played five, or you
Oh
have?
yeah, I've finished it,
Oh,
but
for that,
I
do you?
finished it like 2016,
Oh,
2017.
okay. Okay.
So I just want to get your perspective, Jay, on it. When you played it, I know it was very hyped up, but did you think it would be end up being the biggest game of all time, basically?
I had a feeling. I mean, it was after having played four, everyone was expecting so much.
Mm,
And I remember I actually followed five quite a bit before it came out. I remember following the news on it. It was probably one of the only games at the time that I was really following. I think one of the biggest things for me was how much it reminded me of previous GTA titles, specifically Vice City, I think, because it was in like a sunny area of America versus four, which is in more and San Andreas. Well, I guess San Andreas is quite sunny, but four was in New York, so it was quite gloomy a lot. So I think GTA kind of lends itself to being in more of a Hollywood-esque area. Like when you think GTA, you think LA. You don't think New York, not necessarily, do you? So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's definitely a big pointer. The other one is like the heist aspect of it. The game is basically like, heist after heist essentially, right? And I feel like heist movies like Ocean's 11, 12, 13 or whatever, those kind of movies I really enjoy. So it kind of felt like watching the movie but playing the game of the movie at the same time. So that was definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, mate, the height, like you say, it is like, am I playing through this? You're playing through the start of the Dark Knight. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it kind of felt like just playing like you were in a movie, but you were the character. That's kind of what it felt like to me, which I thought was quite a refreshing thing at the time.
Well, to be fair, mate, I mean, that
And
is
music
probably
goes
the ultimate.
insane.
That's probably like the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Also, I think the game came at quite a good time. I would have been 17. Yeah, maybe 12. No, 16, 17. Or was I older? God, no, yeah, I
I
was
think you.
17. That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
This game came out after I left school. That's insane. I don't believe it. In my mind, this game came out in the middle of high school, but it also, oh, that's weird. So in my mind, this game came out during high school, but also way after. I don't know
Well, it came
why.
out in sixth form, if you will.
Ah, yeah, it's just such a, I don't know,
Yeah,
GTA just seems so much more fresher on my mind than I think it actually is. But it also seems way too distant. It's like I can't quite pinpoint it. I think the other part of it was also the art for it. The artwork definitely just felt
mm,
much needed at the time. Like again, I've spoken before about how artwork can be so influential on how much I like a product. A product can be just like even like a book, right? A book is words and a story, but most of the time, I mean, definitely isn't like a need. Like you can have a story without a front cover, but a front cover can definitely like influence how you feel. Obviously, don't judge a book by its cover, but it can help. It can definitely influence you. It
yeah,
can make you feel
yeah,
more passionate about wanting to read it. So yeah, I think the artwork for this game was definitely a massive thing for me too. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay. My number
Want
three,
to go
Jay.
your one? I'm surprised. I have no. Honestly, I'm kind of worried these are going to bloody. I mean, one of these games is definitely going to cross over 100%.
Okay, all right.
Has to. It has to.
Okay, all right. My number three is Max Payne 3. I think it's the
Okay.
most underrated Rockstar game. I think it's one of the most underrated games of all time. It is such a weird experience where the game makes you feel like you're on drugs,
That's
but
good. Yeah.
hyper alive. You have the sunny Sao Paulo, whatever it's called, Brazil, mixed with the dark, snowy New York, and it's such a instant. Oh, of course that's Max Payne, even though it's not Max Payne. The Brazil side of things, the
Hmm.
story, the characters, the delivery. I guarantee, Jay, you watch that first cutscene, you are in. The way the cutscenes work, it like flashes, it strobe lights you, and it's just a constant stream of an experience. I love this game.
Yeah.
I
I
love
think
this game.
this may be obviously alluding to too much, but if I had to put Max Payne anywhere on a list, it'd probably be number four in terms of Rockstar games for me. Like it just misses out on the third spot. Just. So yes, I definitely feel why you feel that way about Max Payne.
It's
Yeah. I honestly was
yeah.
really thinking about it. It was either Max Payne being 3 or 4, so it had to be 4 for me. I
This
need to
is
play
Max
that
Payne
game.
3 I'm talking about. I'm talking about Max
Yeah,
Payne
yeah,
3.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I need to
yeah.
play that game again. It's been such a long time since I played it.
But have you played Max Payne 3?
Oh yeah, played it on hard. I think I want to play it again.
Oh, mate, yeah, I did the same thing. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, mate, I didn't realize you played it. I thought you hadn't for some reason. Yeah, mate,
Spoke
that's
about it
awesome,
before, didn't we?
mate.
We did
Literally,
we did like a history dip type thing before.
okay. I thought we had,
Can't remember. Yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the music's amazing as well. It's just a really amazing
It's very well
game.
done. It is obviously it's linear, but that it lends itself to being linear. Again, that's one of those ones that kind of feels like a movie to me. Like it's almost like you're playing an American sort of Jason Bourne, James Bond type situation, but a lot more rustic and a lot more gritty. You know,
Exactly,
yeah, like a really
exactly,
just like a dirty, like even more filthy and like in the sort of depths of like these criminal backgrounds than Jason Bourne or James Bond, like even more, really
exactly,
in the hell of things. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, shall I do
fantastic.
my number
Okay,
2?
yes, please, Jay. Number 2.
Right, I know you're probably gonna have somewhat of a problem with this
Okay.
because I haven't finished the second one. I have to go with Red Dead 1
Mm-hmm.
as my second game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I've obviously I love the second one from what I have played of it, and I think once I do finish it, it'll probably swap its places with this one. But I have some really really good memories with this. So Red Dead 1 has to be my number 2 spot, I think, on this list, 100%.
So what makes you love that game, Jay?
I think just the time I had with it, like so 2010, I would have been 15. So I don't know. Yes, I guess at this point it really is nostalgia. Like I remember just my time while playing it, it never seemed to end. Like that game, I must have really not played that long. It definitely felt like a month. It just felt like forever.
Mm. In a good way, or
Yeah, I think I might have even played it after. When did Max Payne 3 come out? 2012. Ah, there you go. So Max Payne 3 was right after. Huh, that's interesting.
a couple of years after?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that Red Dead might have even influenced my love of Max Payne 3. Honestly, I really didn't have my only real um, before Red Dead. My only real touch with Rockstar games would have been Bully and Grand Theft Auto. I want to say,
And Midnight Club.
and Midnight Club. Yeah, that's definitely number 5 on my list. If I had to pick. Um, yeah, so I think this just made Red Dead sort of made me fall in love more with other Rockstar games because my number 1 pick actually came out after Red Dead 1. So Red Dead 1, I think has to be my number 2 just because it made me fall more in love with everything else that preceded it. So we'll go with that. And also just the fact of like the time period too is quite an interesting one.
Yes.
Like picking that particular time and that history, just yeah. It's again, we're bringing it back again. It is much like watching a western, but you're playing it. I kind of wish they did like a Westworld game, honestly. But like with today's technology, that'd be so like even with like a VR, that'd be insane.
Oh, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy.
All right, go on, do your number 2. I kind of already feel like I know what it is. Actually, I know what your number 1 is, but I don't know about your number 2. Actually, I'll say,
No,
go
you
on.
don't. No, you don't.
Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't.
I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm just
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so my number 2 is Red Dead 2.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought that was going to be your number 1. So I kind of have a feeling I know what 1 is going to be now.
Okay. Well,
See.
Red Dead 2 obviously has a special place.
Yeah.
What can I say that doesn't already add to the conversation of its graphics, its story, its characters? Me and my brother don't, some people are like, oh, you don't agree on anything. And it's like, we actually agree more than what you think. So for instance, my brother, he has a computer and I'm like, what's your password? And he's like, oh, my favorite game. He had never told me his favorite game. And I knew his favorite game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Connect in that way. Sure.
Yeah. And I actually introduced him to that game, FYIL. And secondly,
I'm sure he'd have a problem with that. But go on.
my favorite video game character, I'm like, yeah, it's Arthur Morgan. And then one time I was like, yeah, I really want to name my kid Arthur just from Arthur Morgan. And it's like, we had never spoken about it and we had never spoken about it. So it's just an amazing game. The reason it's not number one is all the reasons covered on this show with Jay. That currently in my mind there is too much negative to put that at the number one spot.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that. Sure.
And you can
Again,
feel free to go back and listen to the old
I
shows
feel
to
like
find out more about that.
I wouldn't let myself be affected by that as much potentially. Like I know what you said, but I feel like that definitely can hinder obviously a personal experience, which obviously this list is. But I think as an overall, the game was obviously probably holds itself a lot higher in regard versus what your personal opinion of it is. Would you say you'd be able to detach your personal opinion versus the like maybe just the general opinion of that game?
I can't detach my opinion of the game with the game because the game, I have my personal opinion from the game. Like, I just played the game. I didn't like do anything in particular. I played what the game offered me, and it was too long.
Okay.
And I know what you're saying. For me, it's like my opinion is of the game, you know, and it's like I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like the Bruce Wayne thing of, you know, that theater you just went in right before your parents died. I know they just died, but do you like the theater? It's like
Oh wow.
you literally like
My
what
favorite
you know.
analogy. Do you like that old
It's
press?
like
Did you like that?
so it's like the game's good. I'm like yes, but it's very
Experience
difficult for me to
comparison.
yeah.
So basically, what you just said there was kind of what I meant. Like the game was good, but the
Mm.
experience you had of the game was marginally less than what the game is as a good thing.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. But yeah,
No,
I can.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah.
I've definitely had that with similar things, similar games. Shall I do my number one then?
Yes,
I'm
please.
actually kind of scared that our number one is the same now.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
Okay, so yeah, my number one, as previously mentioned, is LA Noire. I think at
Boo.
the time, obviously the facial graphics were a big thing. They were starting to bring in like facial mocap more into games, and that was like massive. It obviously doesn't hold up as well, maybe, as today's standards, even though Halo Infinite seems to have a bit of a issue with that potentially.
Oh
And
dear.
even Ghost of Tsushima, that has a little bit of an issue with it, but it doesn't matter too much. I think that'll probably be one of the biggest things in the future is getting that spot on. But yeah, so LA Noire, murder mystery, just really up my street. You know, like perfect genre for me. The fact that there was you had to pick whether your progression of the game would divert into certain ways, right? So like you had with like Mass Effect or a game like Dragon Age, what you said sort of didn't hinder it. It affected the rest of the game to an extent, right? So I like being I hate and love that. It's like a love hate thing with that style of a game mechanic because I'd rather just get everything right the first time round. But having to like learn from your mistakes and like actually understand the mechanics of the facial recognition and be able to tell whether someone's lying, if they're being doubtful about something, or if they're actually telling the truth, is quite a good skill to have when it comes to enjoying the game overall. Because then it makes you feel like you're actually a detective and you're actually like becoming the character of the game versus just acting as one. So I thought that was just like a big, quite innovative thing. I don't think I've seen that in anything since, where you actually have to like read a facial recognition to be able to understand the job of the person you're playing in the game. So I thought that was just quite interesting. And also the game was very much like previous Rockstar games, right? So you had the similar mechanics when it came to shooting, like Red Dead obviously came before, so that helped with like understanding the combat, I guess. And then just the time period, it was the story of it like happening, you know, in the 50s. I want to say early 50s. So the war just happened. America's sort of becoming this like, you know, the nuclear family type situation. You know, this lovey-dovey wife at home in the kitchen, husband comes home from work, the kids say hi, lovey-dovey house. It's all like perfect American dream type thing. But then you've got this serial killer. You've got these deaths that happen. You've got all these, you know, crimes, and you think, oh, this sort of like massive sort of like wedge in between this brilliant life that you're having, but that you've come to find out that part of your time in the war has affected this whole thing, and it's just a so well done story in the end. So it definitely lends itself to being. I think it really is a massively underrated game. I think a lot of people need to go back and play that game. And I kind a part of me wants to be able to play that game now, like with like updated specs. I'd love if they redid it.
Well, they have put a
Yeah.
remaster out
Yeah, I think I need to potentially check that out and see how good of a remaster it is.
with some lovely artwork as the
'Cause
cover.
I've played it 2 or 3 times on the original, obviously older original version. So how much it's changed since then, I don't know. So we'll see. So yeah, that is my number one.
Awesome. My number one, Jay, is Red Dead 1.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you
I
took me for a
thought
bit of a loop there.
I
Okay.
did. My list's very boring. I thought about this long and hard, and Red Dead 1 as an overall experience is a better game to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's shorter, it's more
True. Very true.
concise,
Very true.
it's perhaps more impactful, though we're talking at the Olympic scale here
Yeah, 100%.
of
Very fine line.
these things. I think considering I played it, it must have been 6 years after it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You didn't play Red Dead 1 in 2016.
Yeah.
No, there's no way. I remember. So I didn't play it before you. There's no way. That can't be true. That cannot be true. In my mind, obviously my memory is terrible from these days, but in my mind, you played this at the same time as me.
I mean, I
Well,
played it on Xbox One backwards compatibility, so
maybe not then. That's insane. Okay.
yeah. So
Strange.
yeah,
Okay.
play that game, and even with that age on it, it's still possibly the best Rockstar game ever made.
Yeah, I'm kind of afraid to go back and play a game like that. Because even with LA Noire, like I feel like even with some films, like I'll go back and watch them, and that'll destroy my first opinion of it. I'll be like, oh, maybe the film or the game wasn't as good as I thought it was.
That was what
of it was different.
That is what I had with Kingdom Hearts. So I was starting to play it, and I thought, this is going to ruin it.
Yeah.
And the thing about Red Dead 1, which Red Dead 2 doesn't have, and they're just different games, is the simplicity of the characters. So there's only a few characters in Red Dead 1, whereas there's a lot in Red Dead 2. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if it's done right and well. But I think there is an impact you get from the characters you see in Red Dead 1 because you see them so much, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely had more emotional tie to Red Dead 1
Yes.
than I do 2, but obviously I haven't finished 2, so I wouldn't know as much. So
yeah,
the ending was actually a massive surprise to me. I did not see that coming at all.
We should talk about that. I knew the ending. I guess you didn't.
Oh, so you knew it before you played it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't. I haven't experienced it first time round with like having no clue. I think it was probably obviously that would be one of on your list, right? Of like Eternal Spotless thing, right?
Yeah, probably would. Yeah.
Like it would be good to be able to play that game without having any knowledge of what happened at the end.
Oh,
It definitely
100%.
can change your experience of a film or of anything. So
100%.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ending, Jay?
I liked it. Liked it a lot. I think it made sense. Definitely. I'm a sucker for tragic endings.
Yeah.
Tragic endings that either end in complete tragedy or with still a happy ending in some degree.
Oh,
I feel like tragedy is one of the best storytelling ways of doing things ever.
Mechanisms.
It just makes you hate the world, but love it just the same.
It's a reflection of how cruel the world can be.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Jesus God, yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for going through our favourite Rockstar games, top 3.
Yeah,
I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
That'll be quite interesting.
Every time we talk about these games, Jay, that we've got to finish or we've got to play again, I'm just thinking, man. I'm writing these down. I'm like, yep, let's play. And I'm not saying we should commit to anything, but I just think it'd be really cool to play these games together. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying.
I see you.
Okay, Jay. Next up, we're getting there, guys. Don't worry, we're getting there. Next up, a quick debate, in my opinion. I thought about this since Ghost of Tsushima. I thought I'd put it out there. This is my personal opinion. We can go more in detail about all the different PlayStations, our thoughts on them at a later date when we reflect on PlayStation before PS5. But I wanted to put out the debate, which is that PS4 has the best exclusives of any games console ever made.
Okay.
And I looking at the list
Yeah, I
and
was gonna say, have
looking
you
at
got a list? I kind of want to see.
how these games will age compared to how other games have aged, I think that's true.
Yeah.
So let me tell you some of the games, Jay, so we can
Okay, go
start
for it.
talking about it. So, Jesus Christ, why these games? I mean, so you've got Street Fighter 5, which actually fizzled out in my opinion, but you've got the Yakuza 6, you've got Infamous Second Son, you've got The Last of Us Remastered, which I am counting, you've got The Last of Us Part 2, you've got Spider-Man, you've got Shadow of the Colossus Remastered, you've got God of War, you've got Ratchet and Clank 2016 Remake, you've got Uncharted 4, you've got Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, Ghost of Tsushima, Detroit Become Human,
Uh-huh.
Persona 5,
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Last Guardian,
Yeah.
and I'll end it there.
So Kingdom Hearts obviously was part of that, but obviously isn't anymore. They were supposed to be exclusive for a long time.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
So I'm
So, I
now
mean,
actually looking at like a complete list, and there's actually like I think almost 3 times as many exclusives on PlayStation there is on Xbox One.
no doubt.
Like legit, I think 2013 had 6 on. Weirdly, there was a lot more exclusives the first year it came out than there was multiple years after. There was 6 exclusives on one in 2013 versus the 2 in 2013 for PlayStation 4. But then after
Interesting.
that, it was a lot more. There was 10 in 2014 for Xbox, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in 2014 for PlayStation 4.
Jeez. I mean, looking at that list, Jay, can you deny that that is
Oh,
easily one of the best lists of games you've ever heard, period?
honestly, I'm looking at every single one right now, and it is honestly gross. It's just like it
It
honestly
is,
makes
isn't
me
it?
ugly at an Xbox.
It is gross. It's unbelievable, Jay.
I just
The
want to see if
top
you're like looking at a similar list to me. You know?
the top 10 of those games, Jay, are 10 out of 10s pretty much.
Yeah, like you could definitely say that the majority of the PlayStation ones are like just like so well known in comparison.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of gross. Like I'd say the biggest ones out of Xbox are Halo,
Gears,
I guess Titanfall.
Cuphead, no longer an exclusive.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, this is a great,
Gears.
Jay. This is a great thing you sent. This is
Yeah, I
very
know. Go for it.
convenient.
Yeah, literally, that's
Wow.
it. Like you've got Gears, Halo, and I guess you could say Titanfall.
Jay, this image that you sent of the exclusives clearly shows
I know it
Xbox
shows exactly.
problem.
It's great.
This is a
I,
fantastic
the
picture.
one thing I can say though is that the majority of the exclusives on PlayStation 4 are Japanese games. The majority of them. So they're games that you're not going to see ever on Xbox because Xbox are an exclusively Western company versus a Japanese company like Sony who are going to make a lot more games for a lot more Japanese style genres. Well, there's a lot more that the Japanese have just got so much more to play with
Hmm.
versus the Western side of things who just very much don't have that. I mean, there's technically I think 2 Japanese exclusives on Xbox, but I think they're Western made games that were Japanese inspired, I want to say. So they might not even be like all Japanese.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one exclusive I forgot about, buddy, Quantum Break. That, oh my god, have you played that?
Nah.
I need to. You need to play that game.
Okay. Okay.
It's insane.
Well,
Oh
a
my
game that
god.
I forgot to mention on PS4 was Until Dawn, which is
Yeah, no,
fantastic.
that series is still going, isn't it? Because they've got the Man of Medan,
Yeah, they've got the Dark Pictures anthology.
and then they've
Yeah.
got another one coming out, I think, in the next
Little
month.
Little Hope. It comes out
Yeah,
30th of October.
absolutely great game to watch streamers play.
Yes.
So fun to watch, like as a gameplay thing online versus
Yeah.
actually playing. I imagine playing it would probably be quite fun too, but
Jay,
not for me.
looking at this picture, it does give me hope that actually your Xbox One purchase at the time of 2014, 2015 wasn't that ridiculous. Like Titanfall
No.
is one of my favorite games ever. You've got Halo Master Chief Collection, Rare Replay, Sunset Overdrive. Like, it's no PlayStation 4, but it's not terrible.
Honestly, looking at this, I kind of like wondered why the hell did I ever actually buy an Xbox? And I
Yeah.
guess it was mainly because of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Probably that, and maybe Crackdown, like the potential of Crackdown 3 coming out, which did eventually come out.
That sure did.
And I guess, what was my other reason? Assassin's Creed. I'm sure there was something. I don't know. But yeah. I'm kind of glad I didn't buy a PlayStation 4 before 2014, though. Definitely would have been a bit of a naff experience.
Well, if you played your third parties on them, then it wouldn't have been terrible.
Actually, I think I would have bought it 2015 because Bloodborne came out in 2015, so I must have bought it at the very. I think it was January 2015 is when I got it. So.
Fair.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well,
yeah,
I'll leave that to people's debates and do it. I'm going to put a link in it to the description for the peeps.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's a great image.
Brilliant,
we actually need a more updated one because, I mean, some of those...
Oh, that's true, yeah. I imagine there's probably some more editions, 2017 onwards.
Definitely. Oh, mate, like, loads. God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 2. Like, there's loads. All right, Jay, next movement. Guess whose review?
Yes.
For the uninitiated, for those who haven't given their eye sockets to us as donations, me and Jay take turns every week picking a random review of a random game from a random media outlet. We give 3 quotes each to guess the game, and they've got to guess it. So this week it's my turn. I'm giving 3 quotes to Jay. He's got to guess the game. Jay, are you ready for this?
I am.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
worried.
Are you looking at stuff still?
Do you want me to... I'm seeing if there's more like exclusive thing.
Let me know when you're...
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, Jay. I'm hoping it's not too hard. Quote number 1.
Okay.
It's a genre remix that samples the combat and exploration of a lightened up Dark Souls and the action and energy of Uncharted.
Jesus. Definitely need to hear that again.
Okay. It's a genre remix that samples the combat and exploration of a lightened up Dark Souls and the action and energy of Uncharted.
Jesus Christ. Right, so what I gauged from that was a Dark Souls-like game.
Yeah.
That's slightly easier, but is also like Uncharted. So it's probably a Dark Souls game or a Dark Souls-like game that has some sort of climbing mechanic.
Okay, this is good deduction. Yeah.
So if I had to guess, damn it, Dark Souls-like game. I mean, I can only really go with like Sekiro. I'll go with Sekiro.
Incorrect.
Okay, it must be like with the other ones then.
Forgot to do the scores, people. We get a score system. Currently, it's me 7, Jay's on 5. You get 3 points for guessing from the first quote, 2 for the second, 1 for the last one. Quote number 2.
6. Didn't I get 1 point last week?
Oh, you did. Apologies. Yeah, Jay's on 6. I'm just trying to cheat. Okay. Quote number 2. Though they seem small at first, almost every world you visit is revealed to be surprisingly large, with huge... So, excuse me, my saliva outtake is crazy. With huge sections and shortcuts locked behind barriers, you'll later learn to blast through, jump over, or otherwise overcome.
This worries me.
Really?
Oh, no, I know what it is. You bugger. This better not be what I think it is. I'm going to be so pissed if it isn't this. You ready?
Yeah.
Is it Star Wars Fallen Order?
It sure is.
Damn it. Why didn't I get that from the first? I got 2 points.
Mate, you were so on it. You're like, yeah, it's got climbing, Dark Souls like. I'm like, oh god, he's gonna get it.
No, I just had to. I feel like I had to get the one that was too obvious out of the way. Obviously.
Oh man,
Damn it! Damn it! Damn
well
it! I should have
played,
got that. I should have got
sir.
that. You know
Well
what gave it away?
played.
It was the worlds.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the worlds, and then it was the blasting through barriers. That wasn't too easy, but it definitely helped.
Do you want to hear the last quote?
Yeah, please. That'd be interesting.
There are only 3 active abilities: free/stun, push, and pull.
Oh yeah, that probably would have done it. More than likely. Yeah, that was good. So it's 8-7 then to me. I'm finally in the lead
For now.
for
For
now.
now.
I got to get mine prepared for next week.
100%, man.
That was good. That was a really good one. I
Was
really
it?
enjoyed that.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. People can write in to the show using your imagination. Jay, what will you be playing this week?
Oh, it's a difficult one. In the minute, I'm sort of in anime mode, so I don't know.
Anime?
Part of my mind is like, if I do eventually get bored of anime, I'm sure I'll want to play something. I might come back to just like, Rogue Company, just as a laugh for a bit. I definitely still want to finish my second playthrough of Ghost at some point, so I might even just finish that off. It's hard. I tend to get less motivated about playing games when the weather is nice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can't. I feel like I get like quite. Even though I had this a lot with Odyssey when I played it, I got very hot and sweaty a lot when I was playing it. But that partially makes me like want to just like lay down and watch a film or watch a TV show versus
Versus
play a
summer
game.
gaming. Versus summer
Yeah, I feel
gaming.
there's a difference between like summer gaming and it just being hot, right? Summer gaming to
Yeah.
me means a cool shady room with the window open and the wind blowing, but it's like not too hot. It's like 20 to 21 degrees, maybe even 18, 19. But I think anything over like 22 just gets like, oh, it's too stuffy. So I just can't quite enjoy myself when playing a game as much, which is like such a privilege to have, obviously. But that's just kind of how it is, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think. I'm sure I'll be inspired at some point. I mean, weirdly, even like when I was playing Ghost, that made me want to watch anime. So me watching anime might make me want to go play something else that's somewhat similar at some point. Maybe there is an anime type game that I have that I wouldn't mind playing at some point. So I might even go and play that. I don't know. I might even just find like a Japanese RPG to play. That seems like quite a comfortable thing to go back to, so I'll probably just do
Yeah.
that. Something cheap. Obviously, there's loads of sales on at the minute, so I'll have a look at the store again and see what's available.
Sounds cool, man.
Yeah, what about you?
I will be playing Odyssey.
Obviously.
And with that, we shall
Without
go on,
giving
mate.
too much away,
Yeah.
how close are we to this special? Would you say? If you don't want to give too much away, you don't have to say, obviously. Like, is it going to be before episode 25?
I'll say this. It'll be days, not weeks. Sorry, weeks, not days.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But not months. But not
Okay,
months.
that's good. So before 25, I guess. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what that brings us, I guess. Looking forward to this. I can't wait to know what you think of having it ending and everything. So.
I'm excited to talk to you about it, mate. I'm excited to see what your favourite bits are, and I think
Yeah,
you'll.
if I can remember.
I think
sure I can.
you'll have more perspective than me on some of the more.
Maybe, yeah. It's
stuff.
obviously going to be fresher for you, so I've had time to reflect since then.
You have. You have.